The boardroom was a sleek, glass-walled space on the 30th floor, filled with polished wood tables, chrome fixtures, and a massive wall-mounted screen displaying the company's financials. The CEO stood confidently at the head of the table, gesturing. Two soaring growth charts while a dozen investors watched with polite interest. He flashed his trademark grin, sure of closing the deal. Suddenly, mid-sentence, the screen flickered once, twice, then went black. A chorus of surprised murmurs filled the room. Laptops beeped as connections failed. A red error icon popped up on the conference call display. The CEO froze, his hands still outstretched, eyes darting from the blank screen to the startled investors. One of them, an older man with a gold watch, leaned back and raised an eyebrow. A woman in a tailored suit whispered to her colleague, shaking her head, trying to recover. The CEO laughed awkwardly. Just a quick tech hiccup. He tapped at the remote, but nothing happened. Outside the boardroom's glass wall, staff scurried past, whispering urgently. The CTO, pale and sweating, cracked the door open. "Sir, we've lost all systems," he hissed. The CEO's eyes widened in disbelief. "What do you mean all?" The CTO swallowed. "Servers crashed. Nothing is responding. We're dead in the water." The investors exchanged skeptical glances. Someone coughed deliberately. The CEO felt his palms go clammy. His voice shook with anger. "Fix it now." The CTO only nodded miserably and slipped out, leaving the CEO facing his furious, impatient audience. The silence was deafening except for the low hum of the air conditioning, amplifying the sense of collapse in the once confident boardroom. The IT control room, hidden in the basement floor of the towering corporate building, was bathed in the flickering red glow of warning lights. Screens lined every wall, each displaying cascading error messages, system failure alerts, and disconnected server logs. Technicians hunched over their desks, fingers flying across keyboards, faces tense and drenched in panic. The lead engineer, a man in his mid-30s with glasses slipping down his nose, barked orders into a headset, his voice cracking from stress. "Run diagnostics again. Use the backup route. No, the other one." A younger tech stood up, exasperated. "None of the patches are responding. It's like the whole architecture just disappeared." Another staffer looked up from her terminal. "Power load's normal. It's not the grid. Something's broken deep in the core." The CTO burst into the room, jacket half off, hair disheveled. "Talk to me," he demanded. "We don't know yet," the lead engineer said helplessly. "It's not just a crash, it's like the mainframe forgot how to exist. It's total memory loss." Right then, the CEO stormed in. His presence shifted the energy instantly. "What the hell is going on down here?" he snapped, eyes scanning the chaos. The room went still. The CTO stepped forward. "We're trying everything, sir, but the system's gone unresponsive. Even our fail-safes aren't kicking in. It's like someone wiped the DNA of the network." The CEO's voice dropped, ice cold. "Do you understand what's at stake? I've got global investors upstairs, watching this train wreck." No one answered. Just the quiet hiss of server fans and blinking of failed access lights. One by one, the team members lowered their eyes, hope slipping away as fast as the data. In the quiet corridor just outside the nerve-wracked IT room, the janitor moved slowly, methodically, pushing her mop across the polished floor. She was in her 50s, hair streaked with gray, tied back in a known-sense bun. Her uniform was faded but clean. The shrill arguments and shouts from inside the IT room spilled out into the hall. She paused, leaning lightly on the mop handle, listening. Reboot. The backup? Now someone barked, "It's not working. The whole network is corrupted." Another voice shrieked, She frowned, her brow creasing in quiet thought. She had worked here for 20 years, longer than anyone in that room. She remembered when these walls were built, when the first server was installed. She remembered old schematics most of them didn't even know existed. She shook her head slightly, lips pressed in a thin line. No one noticed her standing there? No one ever did. She was just the janitor. Just the lady with the mop who emptied their bins and polished their floors. But she heard the panic, the fear, the hopelessness. She set the mop gently against the wall, wiped her hands on her apron, and glanced down the corridor toward a small, rarely used door marked electrical and legacy systems. Her eyes narrowed in determination. She knew there was an old subpanel in their manual bypass no one bothered to maintain anymore. Asterisk, they had forgotten it existed. She hadn't. Asterisk, taking a deep breath, she picked up her ring of jangling keys. No one else even thought about him. Chose one in particular. Its brass worn smooth from years of quiet use. She turned on her heel and walked purposefully toward that forgotten door, her steps steady and silent as the chaos behind her raged on. Asterisk, she pushed open the heavy metal door with a quiet creak, stepping into the dim, narrow room that smelled of dust and old wiring. Faint emergency lighting cast long shadows across rusted breaker boxes and tangled conduits. It was stiflingly hot. A single ancient fan rotated lazily overhead. Asterisk, she paused, listening to the hum of power still running. Here, despite the collapse in the main systems, her eyes scanned the walls until they found it. An old gray panel labeled Legacy Manual Bypass. Asterisk, her fingers brushed the faded lettering. She remembered when they'd installed it before the upgrades, before the fancy automated controls. She knelt stiffly, arthritis twinging in her knees, and popped the panel open with her key. Asterisk, inside, rows of circuit breakers and a small green button glowed faintly. She studied the wiring for a moment, tracing the old diagrams in her head. She had no computer, no dashboard, just memory and experience. Carefully, she flipped a sequence of breakers in a precise order. Sparks crackled once, but she didn't flinch. She pressed the green button, holding it down for 5 long seconds. Asterisk, somewhere far above her, in the control room, screens flickered. Warning messages began vanishing. Power was rerouted through backup channels they'd forgotten even existed. Asterisk. She could hear the muffled cheers through the walls. Someone yelling, "It's coming back!" In shock and relief, Asterisk, she didn't smile. She just exhaled slowly, letting her shoulders sag. She closed the panel gently, locked it, and wiped her hands on her apron. Picking up her keys, she turned and walked out, leaving the old room as quiet as she'd found it. Asterisk, outside, she lifted her mop again, returning to her work. As the building above buzzed with renewed life, she resumed her slow, patient strokes on the floor, invisible and unnoticed, while the systems roared back to life. Because of her silent intervention, the alarms finally stopped. The screens in the boardroom blinked once, then came alive with the company logo and data dashboards reloading. Investors who had been glaring daggers now sat up straighter, murmuring in confusion and relief. The air that had been suffocating with failure moments ago began to clear. Asterisk, the CEO froze mid-rant, turning from the glass wall to see the giant screen behind him, now glowing bright and stable. Numbers updated in real time. Charts rebuilt themselves, smooth and unbroken. The old man with the gold watch leaned forward, squinting. "Well, looks like your system's back," he said dryly. Asterisk, the CEO blinked twice, chest heaving, sweat still beading on his forehead. His mouth opened and closed once. He turned, bewildered, as his CTO burst back in, breathless. "Sits online. Everything's up. I don't know how it's someone rerouted the entire backup manually." Asterisk, who? The CEO demanded hoarsely. Asterisk, the CTO just shook his head, eyes wide. We didn't. It wasn't us." Asterisk, in the hallway outside, the janitor resumed her slow, steady mopping. She didn't even glance inside the boardroom as the CEO burst out the door, scanning the corridor wildly. His gaze fell on her. He hesitated, realization dawning slowly. Asterisk, he jogged toward her, face flushing with awkward gratitude. "Hey, wait!" She stopped, straightened up, leaning on the mop handle, watching him calmly. Asterisk, "Did you do something?" he asked, voice cracking between command and plea. Asterisk, she simply shrugged. "Just fixed what was broken." Asterisk, he swallowed hard, looking at her differently, now really seeing her for the first time. "I want to talk about a promotion. A bonus. Something you saved this company today." Asterisk, she smiled faintly, shaking her head. "That's kind of you, but I've got a lot of floors left to finish." Asterisk, with that, she turned away and pushed the mop forward, leaving him standing there in stunned silence. The echo of her quiet dignity more humbling than any lecture or apology. Asterisk,